Check 1 2. Check, check.
Audio Jungle.
Hello, patrons. What's up? It is time to do a commentary for the original My Bloody Valentine. Looks like I got Derek Smith in here. How you doing, Derek? Nice to see you. Yes, we are doing extended. I haven't watched this movie in quite a while, actually. So it looks like I just got Derek in here right now. I'll wait a couple minutes and see if we get some more people jumping in. If I don't get that many people, then I'll probably go public with it. So that way we can get a crowd going, I guess. Because I don't want to watch this movie alone. And if you're watching this after the fact, because I do a monthly patron live stream commentary. We pick a movie and we watch it together monthly. So if you're watching this after the fact, if that's something you want to get in on, then more power to you. That would be awesome. But I always make these public after, so you can at least watch them after. But it looks like it says I got 4 watching, but I don't see anybody commenting. So, all right. So I think I'm going to give it about a minute, and then Derek, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me, first of all? Let me check my settings over here on my OBS. Check 1 2. Yeah, it looks like my mic's on. So I think I'm good there. And I realize Sunday night might not be I don't know if Sunday night's a bad night. I don't know if it's, the night before school or whatever. Because I know we're all busy. But yeah, Derek is here. Okay, so Derek, he's ready to go. So Derek, looks like we're probably going to go public with this, buddy. All right? And if you want me, I can make you a mod for my chat if you want. But that's completely up to you. And let me go over here and I'll switch it to public. And yes, we will be doing the extended edition. Dustin, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Oh, looks like we got some more people popping in. Dustin Brandowy, how are you doing, man? I hope you guys' weekend was going good, going well. I did a lot of editing today. I was working on The Beyond. Really, really great movie, by the way. But, yeah. It's a pretty trippy, pretty crazy. It's a Fulci movie. It's one of those Giallo movies. I think The Beyond would be considered Giallo. For sure. But it's definitely got like a haunted vibe to it. But, yeah. A lot of fun. So, let me see. Can I go public through this? Hold on just a second. Let's see, if I click the edit button here. Yep, I can. Changed it to public. Click back over here. Let me make sure we didn't get filled up yet. Okay, yeah, so we only still got a few people in there. So I always say if we get like, maybe a good 10 people, then I won't go public or something like that. I haven't went public yet with it. So this will be the first time I've had to go public, and it's probably because it's Sunday night, but that's okay. All right, so now we are public. Let's see if some more people start flowing in. Refresh that. All right, here we go. Looks like, yeah, now 12 watching. Here we go. What's up, people? Jumping in the chat. Looks like the numbers are starting to pop up. This was going to be a patron live stream, but I only had a few people. I think my patrons were really busy on a Sunday night, so I didn't want to do this, just almost alone. So I figured, hey, you know what? Why not just make this public? So that way we can all watch My Bloody Valentine together. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to go grab My Bloody Valentine if you want. I'm going to be doing the original extended version, because that is the only way I like to watch this movie. As a matter of fact, I think that's the only way I've ever watched the original My Bloody Valentine. It has to be extended. So, Lou Mail, David Catone, Michael Rakes. Yeah, a lot of cool people in there. G65, Beth S., how you doing? Uclo, Amstel 54, Scotty Boy's Rules. Or Scotty Boy Rules. Yeah. I'm excited for this movie. I haven't watched it in a while, so this will be the first time I've laid fresh eyes on it in quite a few years, actually. But Juno 2000, how are you doing? Yeah. It's going to be a... So I hope some of you guys are going to be actually having the movie in there. MindBro370, hi, how are you doing? Nice to see you. I love this movie, though. This is I made some notes. Chris Snyder, what's up? I made some notes as far as this movie goes. There's a lot of interesting things to discuss with this movie. Some neat. There he is. Cool. So, yeah, Scream Factory does a great job. Now, I'm actually watching this edition right here. And if you have this edition, Donald Newton, what's up, man? Thank you. He says, check out Terminator Saving Grace Prologue and Chapter 1 now posted. Let me know if you're interested. Terminator Saving Grace. Now, did you post those on Killer Flicks? Yeah, let me know where you posted it. Thank you for the donation. Michael Rick says, I cheated and snuck a viewing on Valentine's Day, but I can watch it anytime. Yeah, this is one of those slashers you can watch over and over. This is Quentin Tarantino's favorite slasher movie. That's in the IMDb Did You Know? So, yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, this original version is the one that you guys want to keep because it has this great documentary, Bloodlust, My Bloody Valentine, The Rise of the Slasher Film, which is great. A really great documentary. And I was really sad to see that the Shout Factory edition, which is right here, it does not have it. It doesn't have it. So I'm glad I kept this. Very glad I kept this. But thought about breaking out the VHS, but choose Blu-ray, laugh out loud. Yeah, I wish I had the VHS for this. That'd be awesome. But you know what? I think we're going to get this thing rolling. Let's see. I got my little lighting umbrella in front of my DVD player over there. Do they still... Blu-ray player, yeah. So I'm going to hit play. I'm going to count you down from 10, okay? So that way you got plenty of time. If you need to run, you got 10 seconds to do it, okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play. Oh, play extended. It's giving me the option, play theatrical or extended. Of course I'm going to go extended. This movie is... It goes from a 3 out of 5 to a 4.5 out of 5 if you watch the extended cut, based on the kills alone. Jason says, hey Lee, I was in the patron feed and there was no button where I could chat. You know what? I'll have to look at that then, because maybe there's something going on there. That's kind of weird, because I was wondering. But Jason, I'm glad to see you in here now. Let's see who else we got. John Simpson says, I love the creepy folk song at the end. Yeah, that folk song. You know, I was reading that originally they wanted to use like a pop song of the day, and they couldn't get they didn't have the money to purchase the song. Well, I like this angle here. It's kind of like, it's a claustrophobic angle, okay? It's not really, it's sort of a Dutch angle, but it's more of a claustrophobic angle, which kind of puts you off kilter just a little bit. But one thing I love about this movie is the claustrophobia aspect of it. It's very claustrophobic. And to me, that just adds to any slasher movie that you watch, you know? If you can make the setting as confined as possible, then that just makes it even more fun to watch. Now, this was filmed in Nova Scotia. And I believe the mine setting there now, I believe it's like a theme park or something like that. Oh, there's Levi, right on cue. G65 Uklo says, have you seen The Perfect Getaway? Yeah, is that the one with Mila Jovovich? Yes, I have. That is a good movie. I like the twist in that one too, even though I don't remember it. I just remember liking it. Candyman is a gorgeous transfer. Yes, Derek. Love this opening scene right here. It's not like frantic or anything. It's very quiet, and it looks like the miner is about to get busy with, you know, it's like he's having a little hookup session, and then of course he's going to kill her with a pickaxe, it's a very effective little opening actually. And it's different than a lot of slasher openings. Yeah, and she's like caressing the mask and everything. I mean, there's a lot of innuendos going on here. Now, I believe in my review for this, I used her on the thumbnail. Yeah, you see her like caressing his gas mask, like. It looks like a snorkel. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it a snorkel. But, you know, they get your heart racing like right away. Is it awkward yet? And here's the first piece of extended footage. Right here at the beginning. Yep, there it is. You can see the difference in quality. But you know what? I don't mind the quality change. It still is awesome. I almost kind of prefer it having that little bit of, it almost looks like the VHS quality. That little degradation in quality though. I kind of dig it, you know, about this movie. Now, I'm going to be reading your comments throughout too, because I don't have every great idea about this movie at my disposal, and a lot of times you guys can help me with that. But there is a lot of cool stuff to discuss with this movie. Actually, one thing is, it's one of the few like blue collar, I guess what I would call a blue collar slasher. But this transfer looks gorgeous. And like I said, I'm not watching the Shout Factory, which was a 4K scan. I'm actually just watching I think it's the Lionsgate transfer that came out in 2009. So it's an 11-year-old Blu-ray. But I bought it in 2009. I remember Friday the 13th, the remake was coming out that year. And so I remember around the same time, the remake for My Bloody Valentine was coming out. And so they decided, hey, let's go ahead and release the original on Blu-ray. And so I bought it at Walmart for like $10. And it was only on there for a couple years maybe, if that. And then it went out of print. And when it went out of print, that version, where'd I put it? Yeah, it's over here. Yeah, they're in the shower right now for a timestamp. We're introduced to our main two characters. We're going to talk about love in horror and love triangles. We're going to talk about that stuff too. But yeah, this was the version that I got for $10 at Walmart. It is a Lionsgate. No, it's Paramount actually. It's not Lionsgate. But it does have some like Lionsgate trailers and stuff like that on it. But our main characters are TJ and Axel. This is our love triangle. These two guys, one of them is going steady with Sarah, and the other one, he has the hots for Sarah. Jesse Campbell says, Lee, do you prefer this over Valentine? This use better movie in my opinion, but this is the better movie in my opinion, but secretly I enjoy Valentine more. No, I much prefer this one over the 2001, I think it's 2001 Valentine movie, which I just did a D-watch for. That's a fun movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it even compares to the original My Bloody Valentine. I think this is in the top 10 best slashers of all time. It's great. I love this one, actually. But I am really big into like 80s slashers. That's just the flavor that I prefer. I'm not the biggest fan of Millennium slashers. I can have a good time with them, but I just don't find the value with Millennium slashers like I do with these. There's just something about it. It's the characters in 80s slashers. They just feel more relatable. They don't feel like cardboard cutouts, if that makes sense, you know? They feel like real people. Girl next door. The guy that you would drink a beer with. That's what they feel like. Amstel says, don't fuck with a man with a blue wrench. So, yeah, now we're introduced to Sarah and Axel. Now, this will be a spoiler commentary, okay? So if you have never seen My Bloody Valentine, and I'll even say if you've never seen the remake, you probably don't want to watch this, because I'll probably be spoiling the remake too, just to compare the two twist endings, because the twist endings are different, which I think is smart. I think going with a different ending in the remake, it kind of added something extra, because going into that movie, you thought they're gonna make Axel the killer, like they did in the original, and sure enough, they did not make Axel the killer. They made Dean Winchester the killer. So yeah, there you go. Now I love the reds. You know, obviously it's a Valentine's Day movie, but the reds and the pinks. You know, I think this movie's just got a really colorful vibe to it. Now, after Halloween came out, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Paul Michael DB. It's good to be live. It's good to be live. Man, I wish I could. I want to talk about this movie, but I want to read your comments too. It's tough. So Sean says Cody did a review of this movie and did not like it. You know what? I'll cut Cody some slack on that. I will say that when I first watched this movie, it is kind of a slow burn. They do take a while to actually build this relationship, and if you're not really into the lovey-dovey type stuff, it can catch you off guard. It can. So this is one of those movies. The more I watched it, the more I loved it. You know, and it's one of those movies I didn't enjoy it as much. And I don't know how many times Cody's seen this movie, but I really love this movie the more times I've watched it. I've probably seen it a good 5 times now, at least. So, yeah, I don't know if he saw the extended cut either. That makes a difference. That makes a big difference. But talking about the actual holiday itself, this came out in 81, which, by the way, 1981, prove me wrong, greatest freaking year in horror history, in my opinion. There's just a freaking list a mile long of great movies that came out in 81. I'm literally editing The Beyond right now, which will blow your freaking balls off. And it came out in 81. It's a Fulci movie. But Halloween came out in 78, and then Friday the 13th came out in 80. So those two movies were really the only big holiday movies that had been covered up to that point. So this came out in 81, right? The director of this movie, George Mahoka, I think you say his last name, he knew that the Valentine's Day holiday would be scooped up super quick. So much so that when they were shooting this movie, they went under the name The Secret. They didn't want to let anybody know about this movie being filmed with the name Valentine, because just in case somebody came in there and they got it out because these slasher movies take like a month to shoot. So if they put the name on there, somebody could beat them to the punch. And that's how sought after any holiday was in the early 80s. So, Holly Klein made it. What's up? Amber Bartos. Zero M. Sean Durant. A lot of beautiful people here in the chat. Now here's the Aliens scene. Even though this came out before Aliens, they're doing the knife trick with the hand, which is something I used to do with my friends when I was like a teenager. We'd take the knife and try to go between the fingers. I cut myself a couple times. It wasn't fun. I hope you guys have snacks. I really do. I have a Hostess cinnamon bun, which that's going to be tasty. A tasty treat. And I also have some water. He just cut his finger. He cut his middle finger. Now, I do like when it feels like this cast, they did some kind of rehearsal together, because I don't know, there's just a chemistry there. Everybody, they're inside the bar. Oh, here's the Harbinger of Doom. The old man, he tells the story about Harry Warden. Now, My Bloody Valentine is one of the few movies that I find the mystery of the movie, or the fact that there's another killer mentioned in the movie, I find Harry Warden even more interesting than I do Axel and TJ. And we only know his backstory. We don't see Harry Warden in action in this movie. So it baffles me that they never went and tried to do a prequel to this movie. They could still do a prequel if they wanted to. And I know that George, he tried to get a sequel made back in like 2001, and he went to Paramount, and I think Paramount looks down on slasher movies. They've always looked down on the Friday franchise. They've always shit on the Friday franchise for some reason. And of course they turned them down. They were like, "No, we're not interested." And I wonder what they would say today, if because I think horror is bigger now than it's been in a long time anyway. I really do. Brandon Conwell says, "Hello, Lee. Animal Kingdom and Spun are a couple movies I want you to see." Animal Kingdom, I'll definitely write them down and I'll put them on my list. If you guys go to my Letterboxd, I've created a new playlist there. Just got our first, I guess it's our second kill. And he's showing the Harry Warden backstory. A pickaxe is a great freaking weapon. So when I get into the killer in this movie, there's a lot of great things to discuss. And I have some opinions about the gas mask killer. But what I was saying is, if you go to my Letterboxd, you look at my playlists on there, I have one for upcoming reviews. So that way you guys can see what's on deck. Doesn't mean that it's going to be, by the numbers. And a lot of times I let my patrons pick between like 3 of those movies. So we did that recently with Maniac. I gave them Maniac. I gave them Behind the Mask. I'm watching the movie. I'm talking at the same time. I can't do it. Behind the Mask, and then People Under the Stairs, which I just got both those reviews out. I just did it in the order that they wanted me to do it. It was close though. Boy, Blumhouse is not. Hey, Wet Paint Pictures, Cody, what's up, man? How you doing, brother? Nice to see you in here, guys. Check out the Voorhees fan film that he's putting together. Him and his crew, they're working their asses off to get this thing off the ground. I did a trailer reaction. Go check that out. You can see what it's all about. They got an Indiegogo campaign, but I'm really looking forward to it. There's a couple of Jason fan films that I'm really looking forward to. Never Hike Alone in the Snow, and definitely Wet Paint Pictures and Cody's crew doing Voorhees, just called Voorhees. Check it out. And also 13 Fanboy is coming hopefully by the end of this year. Deborah Voorhees is putting that thing together. So, but yeah, what I was saying was about like the horror in general. It's huge today. And there's some good and bad to that, because the good is it's huge because there's some good stuff coming out, like Hereditary, like And I'm gonna freaking throw a hand grenade into you guys, but like Halloween 2018, there are people that have quit YouTube over that damn movie. It's crazy to me. It's crazy that people can hate a movie so goddamn much. But the movie, people generally liked it. Okay, people generally liked it. Dana Decker, what's up? How are you doing? Ryan Harris, is it Ryan or Ren? I hope I said that right. 81 is a Friday the 13th clone. Halloween 2. Well, I'm not going to say it's a clone, but I will say that it was definitely influenced by the kills. When Friday the 13th came out, it inspired so many slasher movies in terms of the way the kills were done. I mean, people before that had never seen kills in that fashion. So violent, yet so realistic. Appreciate the shout out, Lee. Just watched your review of John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. What a scary ass flick. Yeah, man, that's a freaking creepy ass flick. But yeah, I was talking about Friday the 13th. You know, people always give Halloween, including myself, the credit. Even though you can go back even further with Black Christmas. I would even go back further with like Bay of Blood. But I will give Friday the 13th its credit. Even though Sean Cunningham himself said, let's rip off Halloween. Those were his words verbatim. He did say that. But the movie's there, and I think the first Friday is one of the better Fridays. Those first 4 Friday movies actually are freaking, stellar all the way up. See, I'm glad this thing holds messages for review. Because if you guys saw what this guy just posted, my goodness. Bo CF Z Do Boo. You didn't put a lot of time and effort into that screen name, did you? A lot of keyboard hitting, but yeah. Anyway, now the legend of Harry Warden was basically in the mines, the Hanniger mines. I think they say it's 20 years ago. 1960. There's this dance going on, and you got these 5 miners down below, and the mine collapses, and Harry Warden was one of the miners in there, and so when they come back, all of them are dead except for Harry Warden, who escapes. And so Harry Warden comes every year, and he becomes this this story that you tell kids. Harry Warden's going to get you. So make sure you're good. He becomes this myth, this legend almost. And, that he'll come every February 14th. And he said, if they ever have a dance again on Halloween, then he's going to kill. So that's another thing I like about this movie too. It's got those cool little ghost stories. It's nice when you can attach a little ghost story to a slasher movie. Some mystery there. And we got another kill coming up. Every freaking kill in this movie was completely cut. And I can tell you why, too. This movie came out, or it was actually in development around the time that John Lennon was killed. And what do we know in America? Every time there's some kind of national disaster, it affects the movie industry, especially in terms of violence. I remember when 9/11 happened, and there were a slew of movies that either were completely shelved and sent to video hell, or they were postponed and they came out sometimes years later. Cherry Falls was one of them. I remember Training Day was another movie that I believe it was shelved and it came out later. They didn't want to put out anything violent. So same thing with this movie. And really a lot of slasher movies of the time, which is crazy to me too, because this came out in 81. And there are a lot of great slashers that have a lot of violence in the rated R version of 81. So I think the John Lennon thing was just a really small window of time there. But, it happened. And so this footage was lost for 20 years or 30 years, almost 30 years. Yeah, because I believe 2009 was the first time the uncut footage was restored. Something like that. Uh-oh. Jason's in the chat. He says, damn, This shit is late. You gonna do a Silent Night, Deadly Night yet? It's been so. It's been so. It's already almost Valentine's Day again. Everybody, we got a comedian in the chat. Okay, throw digital tomatoes at him. You know what? There's always room for love. Okay, it can be Valentine's Day, any day of the week if you want it to. Right? There you go. Yeah, Final Destination. The first Final Destination came out around 9/11. It came out in 2000 actually, so it was like right before 9/11 because there's no way in hell that movie would have came out. I mean, it involves a plane accident at the beginning. So this whole movie right now, everything it's done is like set up the legend of Harry Warden. We've gotten to know these characters, and it really hasn't focused on the love triangle yet. And yes, your autocorrect did fuck it all up. And I got a homework assignment for you guys, okay? I want to make you guys part of this, all right? Because I was thinking, yes, there's not that many like horror slashers based around like just straight up love. Like there's a love triangle in there, or they're just focused on a couple. And give me some examples that you guys can think of in the chat that involves like there's a couple that, you know, part of the plot revolves around their love for each other. There's got to be some out there, right? It doesn't have to be a Valentine movie, okay? You definitely better watch your grammar, Jason, because Leela, she's like the grammar Nazi, man. If she came in here, she'd be all over you. Nerdneck says, have you seen Animorph? No, I have not. I don't think I've even heard of that movie. Matt Malikocchio, did I say that right? He says, how you doing with your Argento-thon? Well, I took a break from Argento, and I'm doing Fulci now. And I just, I was telling him earlier, I just reviewed The Beyond. That movie freaking blew my socks off. Dino, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. This movie really takes off at the party. Love this. Yeah, this is what you would call a slow burn slasher. You know, hell, the original Halloween is a slow burn slasher. You know, and the one key ingredient you have to have in a slow burn slasher is effective characters, which I think this one does. I enjoy all the characters in this movie, especially TJ, Sarah, and Axel. Now, I believe the guy who plays Neil Affleck, who plays Axel, I believe he still has the miner's helmet that he used in this movie, which is awesome. Jimmy Hayes says the director said at the Q&A that it was because the studio made them cut it or it wouldn't make the February 14th release date. He said there was more footage that is lost forever. Yeah, the footage that is lost forever isn't in the way of violence. He said it was more in the way of like character moments. So I believe he stated that the movie is still like 85-90% there if you add in all the so there's some character scenes that are missing, but I'm happy with what we have, especially having the extended, you know, all, the extra violence. I need that extra violence. So David Catone says, my thoughts on The Hunt. It's silly. I just, you know, I was just talking about that, how movies, they get shelved because of, you know, political things going on. And this was one of those things that was like, I think the plot of that movie is like the blue states are hunting the red states or something like that, which is a ballsy freaking plot if you ask me. And I'm not even a political person at all. I'm not. I don't really bring up politics in my videos. Because you're never going to win. It's just one of those things. I'm not going to, like, say I'm a Democrat. I'm not going to pull a Republican over to me and vice versa. It's just not going to happen. You know. So now we're at the scene where Sarah is walking down the street with her friend and they're getting ready for the big dance. It seems like there's always a big dance at the end of a lot of slasher movies. You know, Prom Night has a big dance at the end of it. House on Sorority Row has a dance like somewhere in there. I know that. Because I remember the band. They were horrible. I'm going to have my cinnamon roll. Thank you, Jeffrey Lane. American Werewolf in London. Great love story. Great example. Thank you very much. And The Beyond is definitely not. Oh my God, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Jeffrey Lane, you get a free. You're a gold star final guy. That's what I'm gonna call you. Okay. I'm gonna need to get a monster here pretty soon. I tried to get through this without having a monster. So Amber says The Hunt is a political version of The Most Dangerous Game. Yeah, and that story for The Most Dangerous Game has been told so many times. There was one with Ice-T. Yeah, David Cadone just mentioned it. Surviving the Game. That was a good one too, actually. Really good one. There was an Incredible Hulk episode, TV episode, where they pretty much did Most Dangerous Game. David Banner was being hunted by this guy. He just wanted to hunt a man, but unfortunately he wanted to hunt the wrong man because he was hunting the Hulk. Nobody hunts the Hulk. The Fly, Jesse Campbell, thank you very much. Man, you guys are so freaking smart. The Fly is a great love story. And the reason I mention that too is because I think when you throw in love stories that work, then I think it just adds a lot more in terms of emotion. If you really care about the couple in the movie. Like The Fly, it's so heartbreaking to watch that movie because it's a freaking Cronenberg movie. The practical effects are amazing. Jeff Goldblum is probably one of the most likable characters ever. And so he descends into this creature mentally and physically. And I think that's why The Fly works so well because during the process, he falls in love with Gina Davis, and it's heartbreaking. Seeing her performance at the end when she's crying because she pretty much has to kill him. Okay. We just got to the dryer scene. Her body just flew out, and it's obviously the cut scene right now based on the quality. You know what though? I gotta say it's obviously like VHS quality, but it still looks really good. They did a really good job cleaning this up as best they could, and I think it flows. I think it really flows. Like it doesn't take you out of the movie. Great example would be like, I used to watch the bootleg of Halloween 6 before they finally released the producer's cut. And it's almost unwatchable. The change in quality is almost like indecipherable. So I wish I put this in the microwave. Dog in Fly 2 had me broken up. Man, you kill a dog in a freaking movie, you're going to hell. That's no joke, man. You don't kill pets and you don't kill kids in horror movies. Pet Sematary did it, and it broke all our fucking hearts. Okay, they're in the mine now. I was talking about claustrophobia at the beginning. For those of you that missed it, at the very beginning, I was talking about how I think the settings for this are perfect because claustrophobia in horror is a wonderful thing. And every time they're in that mine, there's nowhere to run. You can either go forward or backwards. That's it. You can't go left or right because then you're going to bang your head into a freaking pole. And what's interesting too is like when they were shooting this in this mine, it's always a dangerous thing to do that. A lot of times they don't want to shoot in mines. They can't use like certain lighting because it could cause a fire because there's methane down there. So they had to be very careful. I'm sure they had to follow so many different like safety codes. But one little anecdote that I read too is like, I guess the town was like so happy that a movie was being filmed there, that it was being filmed in the mines, that they went in there and they cleaned up the mine for them. And so then the production had to spend another $70,000 to dirty up the mine that was just cleaned. And I know I sound like an IMDb talker, but I like that stuff. I don't know. That's just me. I love that behind the scenes stuff in horror, I just dig it. There's just something about it that's so cool to me. I like how the nuts and bolts work, and I like how everything came together. I like reading those stories where this movie, it's a miracle that it even happened, you know? Because I think there's magic in filmmaking. Because when you tell me that somebody can take this, like I'm looking at My Bloody Valentine right now, somebody can make an hour and a half movie and make me get really invested in it, even love it. You know, like take Christopher Nolan, for example. To me, that there's got to be some kind of magic in there, you know, for me. It's silly as it sounds. Movies are a gift. And it's strange to me that somebody could actually put their heads together, get 90 other people together, and somehow make an hour and a half story. And at the end of the day, that journey can terrify you. It can make you cry. It can make you laugh your ass off. It's no easy task. So I love that behind the scenes stuff. I do. I really dig all that. Okay, I'm going to read some of your comments. Hold on. Thank you, Jeffrey Lane, doing the work in there, man. Taking care of those freaking nasty chatters. There's always people that come into the chat and all they want to do is kick dirt, you know? But then I got guys like Jeffrey taking care of business. Okay, Michael Rake says, this is definitely not my favorite genre or topic. What is the most disturbing horror film anyone has seen? I can give you an answer right now. Right fucking now. Antichrist. That shit messed me up. That scene in Antichrist, and you know, if you've seen Antichrist, you know the scene I'm talking about. I can't even mention it. It gives me the willies. Oh, I dropped my freaking... So now, we have Sarah and TJ. A lovely couple. Something about 80s actors, they just looked more real. I don't know what, it's just... I don't know, so it seems like these days too, like especially for like Millennium Slashers, I can just almost see these casting calls. And you can almost see like these, and I'm not saying this happens, which I'm sure it does. We know it does, Harvey Weinstein. But, you know, these women, they come into these offices and they, you know, let's do a 360. I want to take a good look at it. I don't know, and I'm sure that stuff happened in the 80s, but I don't know. I think there was a little bit more leeway back then. I think, especially for like movies like this, they wanted the characters to seem real. Yes, Suspiria definitely has some, hell, The Beyond. I just saw that's got some really disturbing scenes, especially with the spiders. There's a spider scene in that movie that'll really bake your noodle. But yeah, these two young actors, they're doing a great job. You know, Sarah's crying her eyes out. Now, it's been a long time since I've seen this, guys, okay? And I have the volume down. Is she crying because she can't decide between TJ and Axel? Is that why she's crying? Or is there another reason why she's crying? Wilson, Delgado, too polished. You took the words right out of my mouth. You said what I needed to say. Jimmy Hayes says, George Mahalka directed a comedy the year before with some of the same actors called Pinball Summer. Never even heard of that one. One that I did hear of that George Mahalka did not direct is The Last American Virgin. Have any of you guys ever seen that one? That was an early 80s classic. And it came out around the same time as Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And of course, Fast Times at Ridgemont High got all the press. But it was kind of similar to Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And both those movies had some, like, you know, they pushed some buttons. You know, there was some pretty risque type, you know, for a comedy. Like, Fast Times at Ridgemont High actually dealt with some like real issues, you know, some like abortion, and you know, there's like it was very realistic with like the sex scenes and all that. But wrapped around that was this hilarious comedy that was so relatable, you know. All right, so let's see what Wilson said. Hold on. Yeah. Millennium slashers are too polished. Very, very true. Suspiria gets a looped in hell, even though it's a really good movie. Because if I was to go to hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Satan had that thing over and over in my head. I get what you're saying, but there's no way in hell I would call Suspiria looped in hell. That movie is a freaking masterpiece. Jason Nike says The Last American Virgin was great. Teddy from Friday 4 was in that. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. If you guys ever get a chance to watch the Canon Films documentary, Beth just mentioned it. Canon Film based on the Israeli film called Lemon Popsicle. You beat me to it. That's exactly what I was just about to say. Basically a shot-for-shot Americanized remake. I never saw Lemon Popsicle, but I learned about that movie from that documentary, which I've seen that documentary a good 5-6 times now. It is one of the most entertaining and hilarious documentaries I've ever seen. And all of it's true. You know, what went on behind the scenes at Canon Films, hilarious and just great. It's like a different planet, you know, Canon Films was. I'm sad that my cinnamon roll's gone. So the Harbinger of Doom, he's in the bar right now, and he's warning the young kids that Harry Warden, he's gonna get you. Mikey San says, just watched Polaroid last night. Have you seen it? No, I have not seen that. Polaroid. That sounds very familiar, though. Who's in that? Yes, Candyman does count as a love horror. Very good example. Because there's definitely this like sexual tension between Candyman himself and Virginia Madsen in the movie. But why wouldn't there be? It's Tony Todd. I missed the Moosehead beer. They were drinking the Moosehead beer. Canon used to be synonymous with low-budget crap, but now I love it. Martin, you're absolutely right. I used to watch a lot of those movies back in the 80s, and you'd make fun of them. But now, like, I crave them. I remember after I watched that, I sought out Schizoid. That was one of the first movies they mentioned, because when Canon got started, they started doing low-budget slashers, and they did Schizoid and they did Hospital Massacre. And lucky enough for me, I found a double feature that had both those movies. So it was like a 2-for-1. And I jumped all over it. I even reviewed both of them like a couple years ago. But, I mean, they're straight up Canon films, but I love them. They're both great, especially Hospital Massacre. They fit firmly in that, like, so bad it's good category. Tom Matthews says, didn't know if you did get around to an Exorcist 3 viewing yet, since you mentioned it. Yeah, it's definitely on my, it's right. I just finished The Beyond, and I'm in the middle of watching 3 from Hell, because I bought a Roku so I could watch 3 from Hell on my TV in the living room, because it's on Shudder now. So guys, if you have Shudder, you can watch 3 from Hell for free. But this is a great freaking kill. The Harbinger just got his. The pickaxe goes up through the bottom of the neck and then goes out his eyeball. Great stuff. Great stuff. But yeah, I'm actually in the middle of 3 from Hell right now, and I gotta say, guys, I'm kind of digging it. You know, and I think it's because, you know, it's already built in that you like these characters, and you shouldn't like these characters because they're despicable, disgusting characters. But for some reason, And I think I know the reason. I think I know the reason. If they were by themselves, you probably wouldn't like them as much. But because they're together and they're a family, and you do see like some love there, as twisted as it is, I think that's why you kind of like the Firefly family. And so anyway, that's already built in with Three from Hell. And I went, I started watching the movie thinking I was going to hate it, and it's not perfect by any means. But like I said, I'm about halfway through, and I'm actually kind of digging it. It's funny. I'm looking at it as kind of like a comedy. And Bill Moseley, I mean, the guy always delivers. Sher Moonzami can't act for shit. She has her moments in the movie. Awesome Cool Guy says, Lee, have you ever heard of the slasher Bloody Birthday? That's one that's always been on my list. I've always wanted to watch that one. If you haven't, you should check it out. So that is definitely a slasher, right? Young Methadone, Freddy or Jason? Oh, Jason. I mean, I'm sorry, Freddy. Yeah, definitely Freddy. I'm much more of a Freddy fan than I am Jason, because, and I'm gonna get tomatoes thrown at me, but I kind of see Jason as a Michael knockoff, and I find Michael much more interesting. So yeah, I definitely got to go with Freddy. David Catone, have you seen Three from Hell and its sequels? No, I have not. Not three. I'm sorry, not Three from Hell. You asked me VHS. Have I seen VHS? No, that's the Adam Wingard movie, right? I've not seen that one yet. Derek says, check out Nightingale. I remember, I think somebody mentioned that earlier. It's very disturbing. So, Martyrs is another one that's been on my list. I'm wanting to check out. I heard you got to brace yourself for that one though. Now, let's talk about the gas mask killer, because I have some definite thoughts about this. Because, one, visually, I think he looks amazing. Like, I mean, he's icon level amazing visually, especially in this version. I actually like him. There's a few differences in this version than in the remake, aesthetically. And I think he looks creepier in this version. The gas mask, I mean, I think it's just it's creepy looking, but functional. It's very iconic. It's just weird. I used to wear a gas mask when I was in the military, because we used to have to go through chem warfare training. So I think that's one reason why I like the gas mask killer too. And I would say that I think the gas mask killer would be at the level of Michael, Freddy, and Jason had they continued and made this a franchise. You know, just based on the strengths of this movie. I really love this movie. I think it would have been a great springboard for the franchise. And it's a franchise story-wise that you could really play around with it, because you have that whole Harry Warden story, and you have Axel. So in the next movie, it's still a whodunit, because it could be Axel and it could be Harry Warden. Who's to say Harry Warden couldn't come back? You know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just like Awesome Cool Guy said, he's very intimidating, and that's something that you definitely want. This guy right here, he's actually on the interviews, not on the Shout Factory release, but on the other release. The young guy with the perm, he looks like he's got a perm mullet, kind of, but it's not so bad that he can't get away with it. Wilson says, without Jason, we would not get a Halloween 2. Completely disagree. I think Jason influenced the violence in Halloween 2, but the money that the original Halloween made pretty much ensured a sequel was going to be made. I would even say that the offer was probably there while Friday the 13th was in production, because John Carpenter was given the check. You know, we all know the story. He says he didn't want to make a sequel, and then they extended out a check, which was the biggest check he had ever seen in his life, and the movie came out in 1981. So I don't know when exactly Halloween 2 was filmed, but either way, it doesn't matter. The movie would have been made for sure. But I do believe Halloween 2 came out after Friday Part 2. So, Not that that matters or anything, but I definitely got to give credit to Friday for the sequel boom. Because, I mean, they were churning out Friday movies year after year after year for 4 years. So I'm sure that definitely played a part. But I think Halloween would have done it as well. I think the big mistake Halloween made was that they killed off Michael Myers in part 2. And so then they were like, where do we go? And so then we got Halloween 3. And then it got really messed up. As much as I love those first 3 movies, Halloween 3 should have stayed the course with Myers. And I thank my lucky stars, and you thank your lucky stars that we have Halloween 3. You know, hindsight is always 20/20. And we would have never gotten that movie if they continued with Michael Myers. So who knows where it would have went, you know? So we just got the Harry Warden, well, not Harry Warden, the killer just left a Valentine's candy heart, and it had a heart in it. I wouldn't say force. I mean, the check definitely played its part. So I don't think that's forcing him to do anything. A contract can force you to do something. A check can entice you, and he was enticed. I mean, look, I'm sure Carpenter didn't want to do Halloween 2. If you told me he didn't want to do Halloween 2, I can agree with you on that one. I think he was done with the franchise. But, you know, the check spoke for itself, and, you know, rest is history. But even if Carpenter didn't do part 2, I guarantee you, you know, because Rick Rosenthal directed it, so Carpenter didn't even have to direct the movie. So somebody else would have directed it. But then, funny enough, after part 3, Carpenter wanted to hold on to the franchise, you know, to some of the rights. And, of course, bidding war went on, and the Akkads got it. So then we got Halloween 4. Jesse Campbell says, what if the gas mask killer accidentally stumbled into the collector's house? Damn, that'd be pretty interesting, actually. Because as much as I love Arkin, I don't think he's as deadly as the gas mask killer. But let me pull up my notes here, because I was going to say, see if I said everything I need to say about the gas mask killer. Oh yeah, and the pickaxe. Now, another question for you guys. Do you guys prefer the killer to have multiple weapons, kind of like they did in Halloween 5, where he had all those different farm weapons? Or do you like the killer to have one signature weapon all the way through, kind of like what Jason does in most of the movies with the machete? Here's my answer. I think if the weapon is as effective as the pickaxe, then I don't have a problem with that. I do like when Michael Myers gets creative, though, because at the end of the day, a butcher knife is just a butcher knife. So that is one of the things I did like about Halloween 5, is that how he used all those farm tools, you know, the scythe, the weed eater. That little fork looking thing that Mike the asshole gets it in the forehead. That's actually called a weed eater. I learned that from Don Shanks himself, who used to work on a farm, who played Myers. And it makes sense too, because it's one of the. I guess you go out into the weeds and you just give it a whoosh and it takes up the weeds. I don't know what I'm talking about. Vanderhoff. Dave, what's up, man? He says multiple weapons is kind of cool. I do like, I like especially if it's a slasher that's not like in a franchise, then I think it makes it even cooler. Coal miner should have had one signature tool weapon. Martin Renner. Okay, so now we're at our obligatory sex scene, because you got to have one of these in every slasher movie. This is this is probably the most iconic kill in the whole movie, too. You have all the miners' suits. Which I'm wondering if Scream 3 took a little bit of influence from this scene, because the miner could be like hiding inside the suits, whereas in Scream 3 he was hiding. in the Ghostface outfits. OG Kush Z says, what if Harry Warden went into the Myers house? Then Harry Warden would be dead if Michael Myers was there. End of story. Man, I love this kill. This is such a great kill. Especially the extended version. Any kills with a gas-powered weed whacker? Just curious. I know that Jason uses a gas-powered weapon in part 7. I don't know if it's gas-powered. It might be electric. I think it was gas-powered. And it was that... I don't know what that... It had a disc on it, like a saw disc. And he goes after... that the asshole that wanted to use Tina, pretty much. Yeah, Jason Lives. Does he use a gas powered weapon in Jason Lives? He might. I'm sure he does. Yeah, Dave. I wish they had more sequels to this movie too. I just it shocks me, especially in the day and age where we're full of like remakes and sequels now. And I know it's been 11 years now since we had the remake. They could have even made a sequel to that, and it never happened. And that's a great remake. I mean, the remake to this movie is almost as good as this movie. And I think what makes the remake effective is it's very different in tone. You know, it's more... It definitely still has that love triangle, but there's a lot more fun to be had in terms of the kills. And it's 3D. I love this. Like, he turns on the hot water and then pushes her head against the pipe so the water's coming out. And I believe in one of the cuts, there's the pipe is coming out of her mouth, and you see the water turns to blood. And I don't think it's actually even in this version of the movie. Let's see though. We'll see together. K&M Lover says the remake stinks. I don't think so, man. I think the remake's a fun movie. I really do. I guess it depends on the mood you're in, but I have a blast with the... Oh, so she just came up on, I believe that was the Harbinger. Yeah, he picks her head up from the side. I'm going to show you guys this kill. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Look at that. He's going to slam her head. Oh, yeah, there we go. Right on the pipe. And you see blood coming out of her mouth. Now let's see if we see water coming out. Oh yeah, he just turned on the water. Yeah, and then it cuts. So you see that he turned on the water, but it didn't. Aaron Click says, Lee, do you have a 3D TV? I don't, but I hope they make a comeback. Matter of fact, this TV that I'm watching right now, that TV right there, that is a 3D TV. It used to be in my living room. As a matter of fact, if you look at the old Drumdums Watches videos... Hold on, let me put this back up. Uh-oh. Yeah, if you look at my old Drumdums Watches videos, like say for like It Follows, for example, that's I used to have that 3D TV out in the living room. Oh yeah, the water is running out. Now the water, it still looks like water though. It's not blood. But man, this is a great kill scene. Like one of the better kill scenes out there. Yeah, awesome, cool guy. Hell of a kill. Mindbro37 says, I love your top 10 biggest mistakes videos. Yeah, those were a lot of fun. I still got to do one for like Chucky and Leatherface. I was hitting kind of a stride there right after October with those. And then I went on to do other things. So I got to get back onto them. But yeah, those were fun. Let's see. DeReal Sean says, sorry guys, just got back home from running errands. Better late than never, right? Yep, exactly. Glad to have you here, man. Uh-oh. Oh, no, okay. I thought my chat went out, but no, it's still going. We're good. Okay. Matthew Moochman says, do you prefer this or the remake? Yeah, I definitely prefer this over the remake. And I stated earlier, it's probably because I'm such an 80s slasher fanatic. I love 80s slashers. So, I mean, you could almost give me, I can't think of a remake that I prefer better than the original, except for Hills Have Eyes. I definitely prefer the Hills Have Eyes over the original, but most of the time I'm going to pick the original over the remake. That's just me. I mean, I know the closest would probably be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I still prefer the original. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you say the remake is better than one of the most influential, dare I say one of the most important horror films of all time, that is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No remake is going to top that. I'm sorry. I like that they went a different direction. It definitely feels more mainstream. It's, as Rob Zombie calls them, chiclets. It's got chiclets. But, no, I mean, if you want a raw horror movie, soup to nuts, freaking... When I think back, when you first saw the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, were you not, like, completely freaked out of your mind? Seeing Sally screaming her freaking face off at the end? That shit messed me up. And to say that a remake of that movie that, yeah, it's got some fun scenes in it. I was exhilarated, but it didn't freak me out. That alone gives it points. Yes, The Thing is technically a remake. There's so many people that say The Thing's not a remake. And you know what? They're not wrong and I'm not wrong. I guess it depends on your opinion of a remake. My opinion of a remake is a retelling of a story that's been told before cinematically. The Thing is a remake of The Thing from another world. It's the same story, same source material. It's a remake. That's my opinion, though. I'm not saying you're wrong, okay? Tool, that is all. Thank you, G. Honders. As long as we got Tool, everything else is okay. I saw this meme the other day. It had a picture of the members of Tool on it, and it said, "Hi, we're Tool. We're better than your favorite band." I laughed at that. It was kind of funny. Okay, so here, Mikey Sonny says, I have to disagree. I could never stand the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then Jessica Biel came out along and killed it. It's just better done. No, I completely disagree. And you're basing that off of The Final Girl. And I think the killer should be the most important thing if the movie is that, like, startling. It shouldn't be The Final Girl. And Sally, her performance... I call it a performance, call it reality. She was scared out of her fucking mind. That's memorable to me. Jessica Biel was great. Don't get me wrong. She was great. But I've seen that performance quite a few times. I mean, I would even put Sarah from The Descent way above Jessica Biel, if I'm being honest. But yeah, nothing. I'm not taking anything away from Jessica Biel. They're in the mine right now. Okay? And I'm sure some of the people that are watching this after the fact, they'll be like, why is he not talking about My Bloody Valentine? Because you guys are in the chat and we start talking horror and we're all friends and we're drinking beers together or whatever, and then we're talking horror. I find the Thing 2011 to be a prequel over a remake. It is a prequel. It's not a remake at all. It's the telling of the Norwegian camp. They reference the Norwegian camp in Carpenter's movie. And basically they treated the Norwegian camp like a crime scene. That's how they crafted the script for the 2011 prequel. I've been planning to do a review for that one and a revisited for The Thing. But I can't decide if I want to do... I think I'll do the 2011 first, and then I'll just jump into a full-on revisited for The Thing. Alfred Jeremy, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Have you ever seen the horror comedy Idle Hands? Have I seen Idle Hands? Come on, man. Idle Hands is classic. That One thing I loved about Idle Hands is I'd never even heard of it, and it came out, and I think me and my wife rented it or something, and we just fell in love with it. We expected this movie to be complete crap, and don't you love it when you find a movie like that? And at the end of the movie, I was just floored. I was like, "Holy shit, that was awesome!" Yeah, Idle Hands is great. So one of the girls at the party, she just found one of the dead bodies, and so she came in and she's crying, and so TJ's trying to console her. Good performances in this movie too. I think all these kids do a really good job. And what's interesting about this slasher, and it's common in a lot of early '80s slashers, is you're going to see actors that you'll never see again. Like all of the actors in this movie, I don't think I've ever seen them outside of this movie. But they did a great job. They gave it their all. Franco Bradshaw, what's up, man? Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Derek Smith says the killer reveal is beyond cheesy and I love it. Now, which movie are you referring to, Derek? Idle Hands would be a fun ass D-Watch. You're right. I definitely need to do that. And I got the DVD, I think, of Idle Hands. I know I got one of the versions of it, so. But I heard they're coming out with a Shout Factory release if it hasn't come out yet. Haley, how are you doing? Haley Wright? The original Texas Chainsaw scared the piss out of me. Thank you very much, Haley. That's all I'm trying to say. I think it's a cultural phenomenon horror movie, and what I mean by that is before Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there were really no movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You could say Last House on the Left, and I'd probably agree with you, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre turned it up to 11. It really freaked people out. Ridley Scott even said that he wanted Alien to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space. That's the influence that movie had. And I don't hear any directors stating that they're influenced by the remake. Remake is a good movie, but is it an important movie? It's important in terms of remakes. I will give it that. Although The Thing is the most important remake of all time, if you ask me. I'm not saying the Texas Chainsaw remake's bad. I'm not saying that at all. It's a good movie. But to say that movie is better than a cultural phenomenon that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, nope. I Spit on Your Grave was most shocking before Texas. Yes. Oh, I saw that movie. I actually have it on VHS right up there, but I saw that movie in the early 80s, actually. Or maybe, I think it was late 80s. And it's a tough watch. It is really a tough watch. I mean, to watch, this female, Camille Keaton, I think her name is, and she's just repeatedly raped throughout the whole movie. It's just, you feel bad for her, even though it's acting. I still felt bad for her, and that's powerful. Okay, so now Sarah and her friends, they are in the mine right now, and they're making their way through, and the killer is doing his business, and by that I don't mean he's urinating. I'm having a blast with you guys, by the way. You guys are awesome. I'm going to grab a monster real quick, okay, guys? You want one? I'm still hungry. Okay, I'm back. I got some Utz barbecue chips. I don't know if you guys have heard of Utz. I usually like hers. It's with 2 R's. But the store didn't have the barbecue. And I was really upset. So I went with Utz. First time I ever tried these, but they're not bad. Hopefully my chewing, and I have a tendency of doing this. I tend to eat a lot when I do these commentaries. I get hungry. I can't help it. I'm sure half of you are eating right now. If you're eating, tell me what you're eating, okay? So the sheriff, he's trying to console this guy who's losing his shit. This dude has a snot bubble in his nose. Hold on. Let me see if it still shows it. Hold on. Damn it. It turned away. So, the real Sean says, I just added the New York Ripper to my collection must have. Have you seen it? No, but that's a Fulci film that I've been wanting to watch. I've heard that one's really good. I just did The Beyond. I want to see House by the Cemetery. The Beyond is the middle of a trilogy. There's the House by the Cemetery, and then there's another movie. I'm sure one of you guys know what that other movie is. Let me know. That's a trivia question for you, because I don't know I know it, but I can't remember it. Mikey Son says he's eating a tub of strawberries. You're going healthy. That's good. These are delicious, by the way. Rob says he's drinking a 40 of Old English and watching this. Hell yeah. Salt and pepper kettle cooked potato chips for Dave. Ramen noodles for Alfred. Man, a lot of you guys are eating. Cool. Sarah reminds me of somebody, but I can't put my finger on it. Very attractive girl, though. Now, this might be the only slasher to have a love triangle that I can... Oh, nope. There is another slasher that has a love triangle. Oh, my God. Can you guys tell me? There's a trivia question. Tell me the other slasher that has a love triangle. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes, and then I'll tell you the answer. Jeffrey's back. Thanks, man. Jeffrey, I can't thank you enough, dude. You always got my back when I'm doing my streams. You keep the nonsense out of here. You're fucking awesome. Oh, it's a great last act. Okay, so now they just went to one of the cutscenes, and you see... Oh, so no, this is a different kill. This is not with the pickaxe. He sees the couple that were having sex, and there's like this big drill, like giant drill bit. It's kind of like the shish kebab kill. So, and also Holly, thank you so much, Holly. Holly is another. Holly and Jeffrey, they're my two. They keep the trouble out of the chat. You guys are awesome. They're my 2 partners in crime. That's what I was looking for. Jason's Friday the 13th part 4, Teddy and Dead Fuck. I guess that is kind of a love triangle, though, because they're both into the twins. But it's kind of weird because I think the third movie in the trilogy is City of the Living Dead. That's it, yeah. I think City of the Living Dead, was that the first one? Teddy and Dead Fuck wasn't the answer I was looking for, though. Now the fat guy with the mustache just got it. And he's dragging the flashlight. No, I dig the acting in this movie. I mean, for a slasher movie, it's not bad acting. If you guys will notice, I got purple LED lighting going on in the background. Specifically for this movie. Now, one thing that's interesting about the mine, I guess from the killer's standpoint, is like he doesn't have too many places to hide. But it is dark, so I guess he could hide behind stuff. But area-wise, it's just pretty much linear. So he's got to be pretty much close to the victims at all times, right? Rob's eating some popcorn now. Awesome. Nope, not Army of Darkness. You guys are going to kick yourself when I tell you. You're going to be like, how did I forget that? Should I insert trivia questions in future commentaries? I'll do up like a whole list of trivia questions. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. I'm going to give 10 seconds. 10 seconds for somebody to come up with the answer, and there'll be a prize, okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then there's a 30-second delay. Scream is not the answer. Not the answer I'm looking for. Hey, Lee, I think Blood Rage could use a remake, even though I love Blood Rage. Yeah, I would definitely watch a remake of Blood Rage. That's a fun one. Believe in the hype. You got it, man. Halloween 4. You are the man. Believe in the hype. So, the prize you're going to get, Believe in the hype, I'm going to put your name down, and I'm going to give you a special shout-out in my next recording. I've already recorded so I'm going to print my screen so you don't leave. Yeah. So Believe in the Hype, Halloween 4. You get the shout out in the next recording. So I'm going to let me save this real quick. Believe in the Hype. He got the prize. Hold on. Outstanding. And of course, we're referring to Brady, Rachel, and what was her? Why do I not remember her name? Cops do it by the book. Somebody help me out. Martin Renner says, I love a good countdown. Don't you, though? Yeah, because what's interesting is like they're just moving in one direction. And then as they're moving, slowly one by one, they're getting picked off. So it's almost like the killer is killing them and then sprinting ahead and then waiting. And then killing and then sprinting ahead and then waiting. It's kind of silly. Kelly Meeker, that's it. Kelly Meeker, it just came to me. Don't be a Brady. Yeah, don't be. Somebody posted that on Killer Flicks the other day. That meme. It was really, really fucking funny. I wish I could remember what it exactly said, but basically it said, "Don't be a Brady" at the end, because Brady had a bad night. Now, I saw the remake, I think, before I saw this one, the original. And when I saw the remake, obviously, I thought Axel wasn't the killer. And so then when I watched this, that was kind of a nice surprise. I was like, oh, okay, in this one, Axel's the killer. I don't even think the guy's name was TJ in the remake. Let me see. Hold on. My Bloody Valentine 2009 cast. Yeah. So it was Tom and Axel. Kerr Smith played Axel. And it was Tom that was the killer. Yeah, the only lighting, I mean, look at the lighting in this. All they have is pretty much their helmets. That's it. And that's because they couldn't place lighting in there. because they could start a fire. F off Brady. Yeah, it should have been F off Brady, but it was F off Wade. At least Wade tried. Brady didn't even have to try. Pretty boy. Have you guys seen this? This is the 25 Years of Terror DVD. This is one of my most prized possessions. I love this thing. It's very dated. It takes place after Resurrection. So everything's covered up to Resurrection. But one thing I like is all the behind the scenes stuff with the actors. And on Halloween 4, what's up, DJ? And on Halloween 4, I remember Brady, I can't remember his name, Sasha Jensen. He tricked Kelly Meeker and Rachel, the actresses, Ellie Cornell, and I can't remember her name. But he basically went up to both of them and said, the director wants us to practice making out. He told both girls that. And the director did not want him to practice making out with both of them. They didn't find out about that until the panel on this documentary. And the reaction is hilarious. So if you haven't seen this, I would definitely recommend picking it up. The panels are great. There's a lot of good panels on this. And it's 2 discs. The first disc, they kind of skim over a lot of the panels for each movie. And then the bonus disc is essential because then you get like the full version of the panels. So it's great stuff. Yeah, we're on the ladder scene right now. Thank you, Derek Smith. And you see the dripping water, all that great scene. What's the word I'm looking for? Ooh. Damn. So the freaking body just fell and his head snapped. So his head snapped off. Scene dressing. That's what I was wanting to look. You want to make a scene look as realistic as possible. I mean, they're in an actual mine, so it can't be much more realistic than that. But, they're dressing the scene. They got the water dripping. Just adds character to the scene. Kathleen Kenmont, thank you very much. Who's the bigger dickhead, Brady or Trent? Oh, Trent in a fucking heartbeat. Are you kidding me? Not even a question. Jonathan Nichols, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. They've been trying to, Jason Mongo says they've been trying to remake The Crow for years now, and it keeps falling apart. I heard that it's back on now. Like, just recently, they kicked it back on. So now we're at the final moment. TJ and Axel, and they have Sarah between them. We don't know who the killer is. Hell, the killer could be Harry Warden. Yeah, Dave, this definitely has great atmosphere. Great Valentine's Day atmosphere. If I got to have a holiday slasher, Valentine is definitely one of the better, themes. I don't know. There's something about, mixing Valentine's love with slashers. It just, I love it. It just works. It works great. Jesse Campbell, do you own any of the Halloween comics? Yeah, I haven't read them yet, but somebody actually sent me some of the Halloween comics. And as a matter of fact, the DVD that I just showed you actually comes with a Halloween comic. It's actually in the DVD. I'm going to show you right now. It's called Halloween Autopsies. And it's got, yeah, that's Loomis. Good stuff. I should read the comics. It's more Halloween stories, right? But yeah, we are nearing the end of this. Cillian is a great actor. Love Peaky Blinders. Of course, he's talking about Cillian Murphy. Great actor. Loved him as a Scarecrow, actually, in the Batman movies. And, of course, 28 Days Later. He's great in 28 Days Later. I'm sure the women like it, too, because they show his dong. Everybody says Joseph Gordon-Levitt for The Crow. That's like the go-to answer for The Crow. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And I agree. I would love to see what Joseph Gordon-Levitt could do as The Crow. I think Jason Momoa is just too big. I mean, he would have to lose a lot of weight. I mean, Brandon himself is a small guy. And he lost like 20 pounds to play the Crow. And the guy was like freezing on set too because they shot the movie, I believe, in like wintertime. It was really cold and it was late at night. So, I mean, the temperatures were really low, very dangerous. And he weighed 130 pounds. I'm guessing, but like close to that. What is the name of the sorority Christmas slasher movie? Yeah, Black Christmas. Of course. Yeah, Robert Pattinson could work. Now, I saw the recent... Ooh, that's a good kill, too. She's walking around the corner, and the pickaxe just goes right in her stomach, which has got to be painful. Iconic shot right there with Sarah backing up. And then she looks up at the pickaxe killer. No, Axel just freaking lost his mind. I mean, the reasoning behind him is because he was pretty much so obsessed with Sarah that he used the Harry Warden getup as, basically, using Harry Warden as a scapegoat. Joaquin Phoenix could be interesting as the Crow. The Crow does require an actor. I mean, Brandon Lee's performance is great in The Crow. Especially in the moments, the revenge moments. You need a good actor to pull off those scenes. Jared Leto could be a great Crow, for sure. There's a lot of good contenders out there. I'm surprised people don't mention Jared Leto more as the Crow. He's got the look down. He's skinny. And he can act. He's won an Oscar. So now the local law enforcement, they're going into the mine. They got to go pretty good ways, too, because... Oh, iconic shot right there. So at this point, we pretty much know that TJ's not the killer. Yeah, a good portion of this last act, I mean, pretty much all of the last act, takes place in the mine. So now they're on the cart, Indiana Jones style. I always think of Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom when I see this scene. And you got TJ and the gas mask killer going at it, the miner. That's a lot of guys in there. Axel is going above and beyond here. Yes, he is. That would be pretty damn scary. You're down there by yourself and you got this freaking crazed dude in a gas mask with a pickaxe coming at you. And it's dark. Wouldn't be your finest hour. And I mean, you can see how confined they are in this set. Now, I wonder if this area that they're in right now, I wonder if this is actually a soundstage. It looks like it could be. It looks like this was built. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was. You know, it could be one of those, after they did, I don't know if they did test screenings for this movie, but sometimes even if they don't do test screenings, they put a movie together, they go into editing, and then the director has a change of heart and he thinks up a different scene that he wants to shoot. And so it's possible that they could have went back and, shot something extra. Not saying they did, but it could have happened. And then they built this little sound stage because they probably wouldn't want to go back down into a mine. And she just, nope, there it is. He is Axel. So he was a kid, and he was hiding under the bed when his father was killed by Harry Warden. And that fucked him up, but good. Really good ending. And then the mine collapsed again, or at least where he was collapsed. Matt says, "Would you be against Jensen Ackles as Eric Draven?" I think there's better out there. Jensen's a good actor, but he's a little bit too bulky. When I think of Eric Draven, I think of somebody that looks very frail, almost skeletal-like. That's what Eric Draven's supposed to look like. So I'm gonna background is the best among horror YouTubers. Thank you, Wilson. I appreciate that, man. I got to give a lot of credit to my wife on that. She comes up with a lot of my ideas for my backdrop, and yeah, it does look really good though. I like it. I change it up from time to time, but one thing I like about this is I can, I can change it up little by little. Sometimes you'll see like Friday the 13th stuff up here. And I recently had my Halloween 2 NECA figure up here. So yeah, it's almost like every video you're going to see something a little different in my backdrop. Because I don't know, I get bored with things. And sometimes if I'm doing a certain movie, like say if I'm doing Suspiria, I'll put it up here on this corner. So that way you guys can see it, Jim Carrey as the Crow. That made me laugh. Alrighty then. See, now this is a cut scene right here too. Yeah, she reaches down, grabs the hand, and he's literally cutting his own arm off. Damn. And then he crawls out. So they leave it wide open for a sequel. Yeah, and so now Axel's like freaking out, and he's running away with like one of his arms chopped off. That's a nice little shot. They got the hammer They got the camera like hidden down in the rocks, so you can see like the rocks. I don't know. It just looks very claustrophobic. I think today's word is claustrophobic, and that's it. And then we got that creepy song at the end that gives me nightmares. This was a lot of fun, guys. you guys really throw out some good like topics at me too. Just really fun group. I appreciate you guys stopping in and enjoying this movie with me. Dead Jester, what's up, man? Nice to see you, DJ. Let's see. He's talking. I missed when he first came in. He says, yes and no, in my opinion, it should feel a little bit more like a detective story because that's what Batman is, a detective. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't really give my thoughts on Robert Pattinson, too. I'm excited. I posted on Twitter that it looks, and a lot of people said this, I'm sure, but he looks very much like Daredevil in that picture, and I'm sure that's because of the red lighting. But even the way the cowl looks, it looks like Daredevil. You know, it's not as busy. It's very a very functional and economic cowl. You know, he looks like he can move his neck a lot. But yeah, I've always been in. Even when they announced that Robert Pattinson was going to be Bruce Wayne and Batman, I was on board because Robert Pattinson is a great actor. I think when they announced him, I hadn't seen The Lighthouse yet, but after I saw The Lighthouse, that pretty much cemented the deal. But he was also great in The Rover. He was great in Good Time. He's proven himself as a great actor. So I like his style too because in The Lighthouse, it was him and Willem Dafoe. And those two actors have very different acting styles. Like Willem Dafoe is a very rehearsed type of actor, very prepared. Whereas Pattinson is the type of guy that likes to be spontaneous. He doesn't like rehearsal. And he likes to give you 5 different takes. You know, very different takes. Kind of like what Joaquin Phoenix does. You know, he likes to give you ideas. Whereas Willem Dafoe, he's prepared. He can give you 5 of the same takes. Not saying he always does that, but he's just that type of actor. So I'd like to see what I mean, it worked for the Joker. You know, Joaquin Phoenix is a very versatile type of actor, and it worked for the Joker. Batman is a very different character than the Joker is, but still, I think it could work for a character like that. Give him, because up to this point, Batman, you know, always takes second fiddle to the villain, it seems like, as far as like who gets the attention in these movies. Because Batman himself, he's a very quiet type of guy, you know? Even Bruce Wayne is kind of a quiet type of guy. So, I would be interested in seeing them maybe change up the character of Bruce Wayne a little bit. I mean, don't lose the essence of who he is, but I don't know. As far as like, in terms of like acting, you know, I don't know, put some meat on him, you know? I'm just talking like thematically. Because I do like Bruce Wayne. I think he's an interesting character. And think about it this way, too. It's like every time somebody is announced as Batman, it makes like major news, major headlines. You know, people seem to care about this character more than any other character in comic book history. There's just something about Batman that people just love. And obviously the big thing is they love that he could be one of us, you know? You could be Batman. So and I think people find that interesting. Whereas I'm a big Superman fan. I've always been a big Superman fan. So, but one thing I've learned as I've grown up is that, you know, most people, they seem to prefer Batman. When I was a kid though, I thought everybody loved Superman. Because, you know, I was the type of kid, I looked up at the stars and I wanted to be able to fly and all that stuff. First movie I saw in the theater was Superman 2. And Superman 2, like, you know, I was 6 years old and Superman 2 was everything to me. I wanted to be Christopher Reeve so bad. And so I've always been a Superman fan. I think I've always preferred Superman over Batman. But I've always been a Hulk fan too. Hulk is pretty much my number one guy. And I think yes, part of it's that he's big and, you know, he's strong and all that stuff. But one thing I'm learning as I get older, the real reason why I love the Hulk is because that constant struggle inside. And I think that is so relatable. I think we all have that, you know, that duality inside of us, you know, and it's like one side of us is 95% of us, you know, because we don't want that other side to get out. And I guess with Superman, there's a little bit of a duality too, because he's an alien. So he's at this planet that he doesn't feel like he belongs. He doesn't fit in. He's different than everyone. Whereas like Bruce Wayne, he can blend in. He's one of us. But I find that so interesting that Superman, he's not one of us at all. Even if he wanted to be, he's not one of us. He literally has to be careful when he shakes people's hands because he could easily crush them, in the blink of an eye without even thinking about it. So he's always got to be on his toes. So, yeah, this was really fun though, guys. A couple questions I'll answer. See, hey, do you think after Truth or Dare, Black Christmas, and Fantasy Island bombing, do you think this is going to ruin Jason Blum's film career a bit? I mean, no, I don't think Blumhouse is going anywhere for a while, but sorry, I burped. But I do think they got to be careful. And I think they're banking a lot on Halloween. I think Halloween's their bread and butter right now. I mean, that movie made a lot of money. And it made so much money that they can dabble a little bit and take risks. And so that's why you get movies like Truth or Dare. And I think it's a financial risk. I think they make movies like that because they don't cost that much to make. Although Fantasy Island did look like it might have cost, maybe a good $30 million. So I don't know how much it costs, but I mean, there's quite a few sets in that movie. There's a lot more going on. So I don't know. It's not as confined as say like Truth or Dare. So it looks like it was a little bit more expensive, but my God, the movie was horrible. So I wish they would really get some good scripts, I guess. I mean, obviously that script is horrible. So why even like do it? I don't get it. Jeff Wadlow, it's a competently put together movie, so I can't blame Jeff Wadlow. He's the director. But give the guy some good scripts to direct, And he's not a great director by any means. I mean, the movie was pretty much stock the whole time. But, when I was looking at the movie, I was thinking, like, this is definitely not directed by, like, somebody like Ari Aster or Robert Eggers, There's no risks taken with it. And I think that's, like, the Blumhouse formula now. They're not really taking too many risks in terms of, like, their directors. Dead Jester says, Define Bomb. Oh, let me show this. He says, Define Bomb. These movies were made cheap and they've made their money back quality-wise. They suck fat nuts. Exactly. And you said it better than I did. That's what I was trying to get at, is these movies cost next to nothing to make. So they're going to keep making them. As long as they make money, they're going to keep making them. It's like Saw. When they were doing the Saw franchise and everybody was complaining every year, another stupid Saw movie, and they kept making them because they made money. And that's what these Blumhouse movies are. And I think they're leapfrogging to Halloween movies pretty much, because I'm pretty sure Halloween Kills is going to be successful. I could be wrong, but based on those test screenings, I think it's going to be successful. So, but yeah, I just wish outside of Halloween we could get some other Blumhouse movies that are really good. Get some good directors in there, get some good writers. A24 does it, so I don't know. Take some risks. Jesse Campbell, Lee last question. Oh, let me answer Jason Mongold real quick. Did you watch Exorcist 3 yet? No, I actually answered that like at the beginning of the commentary. It's on the list. I think the next one I'm watching is Maniac, and then after Maniac is Exorcist 3. But if you check out my Patreon page, I let my patrons pick, and I'll usually give them like 3 choices from my list that's on Letterboxd. And so you can have the power to actually pick which is next. But right now, yeah, the next 2 on deck are Maniac and then Exorcist 3, which I'm very looking forward to both. Editing The Beyond right now. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back down here. I missed. Where'd that question go? Let me scroll back up. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Jesse Campbell, Lee, last question. Is there any modern horror you think would be better in black and white or a silent film? Thanks for all the love, by the way. Modern horror in black and white. Hmm. That's a good one. That's actually good. You stumped me on that one. But you got me thinking too, like, and I've never ever thought about this before, but I think Halloween might be kind of interesting to watch in black and white because that's pretty much what the shape is. The shape is there's no gray there. He is black and white. You know, he's black. I mean, you can even go to like Loomis in Rob Zombie's Halloween. You know, uh, black is the spectrum of colors. What does he say from like white all the way to black, or something like that. There's no middle ground though, and that's basically what the shape kind of represents. He is pure evil. So yeah, I might actually try to do that. I might have to watch Halloween in black and white. It could be actually pretty interesting. And it kind of ties in with Psycho. Like there's a double feature for you right there. Watch Psycho and Halloween in black and white back to back. You got two characters named Loomis. So if you want to create your own little story theory in your head, you could say that the Loomis in Psycho is actually Sam Loomis. And, make your own double feature. That'd be kind of cool, actually. So I guess there's my answer for that. And, yes, I did say practical, when, because they're doing another Thing movie, Thing remake of Carpenter's. So, yeah. Yeah, Blumhouse is quantity over quality. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And I think they know that they're doing that. Yeah, The Witch. Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. The Witch would be interesting in black and white for sure. Although that very last scene is brilliant looking with the witches like rising up. I think you need the color in that scene. What was your movie experience when you saw Ang Lee's Hulk 2003? Well, I didn't see that in the theater because I was actually in Korea at the time when I was in the military. And I was excited. I was really excited for that movie because I'm such a Hulk fan. And I remember it coming out, and I remember watching it and feeling weird because the music was beautiful in it, actually. And I did like how ambitious Ang Lee was trying to get with it. We weren't there yet CGI-wise, though. I think the Hulk looks silly in the movie. And there are a couple of choices in the movie that are a little bit puzzling. Like having Hulk fight dogs, like a poodle even. That was strange. Like out of the gamut of possibilities of villains that you could have the Hulk fight, you're going to have him fight a poodle? I don't know. It's kind of weird. But the movie was interesting. I will give it that. But it's not a movie that I think is highly rewatchable like the 2008 Hulk. The 2008 Hulk, I think, is a much more accessible movie. I loved Edward Norton as the Hulk. It's still one of my favorite MCU movies, and I think it's so underrated. I really do. Because if you watch that movie, it feels different tonally than the rest of the MCU does. It doesn't have as much humor as the MCU, and I think that's kind of the reason why I prefer it. I like that struggle that Banner was going through in the movie. They focused on that. They didn't bounce off of it and lean on comedy too much. And I love that about it. And I think if they would have waited to make the Hulk 10 movies down, we wouldn't have got that movie. So I appreciate that we have it, at least. I wish we could have gotten a TV show MCU Hulk story. Well, I remember years ago, before the MCU even kicked off, they were talking about doing another Hulk TV show. And of course it fell through and it never happened. But, I grew up on the Bill Bixby version, and I think Bill Bixby will never be topped as far as Bruce Banner, even though he was David Banner in the show. But he was perfect as Banner. And he was hesitant to take the part, 'cause as soon as he said comic book character, Bill Bixby was like, nope, don't want to do it. I have no desire to do that whatsoever. And then he said, well, hold on. We're going to actually focus on Banner more than we're going to focus on the Hulk. It's going to be about this guy's struggle with the character and trying to constantly find a cure. And that stuff made him interested in taking the part. and then he gave this just great performance. You know, Bixby was an actor first and foremost. He took the craft very, very seriously, no matter what he was doing. You can kind of compare him to Donald Pleasance playing Loomis. I mean, you can look at Loomis's. You can look at the Halloween franchise. It's still, at the end of the day, a slasher type of movie. But look what Donald Pleasance did, because he chose to really worship his craft like he did. I think he elevated the material. Of course, John Carpenter, makes it great too. I mean, you have one of the greatest horror directors ever, but still, I think Donald Pleasance elevates that material. He really does. So anyway, guys, this has been really fun. I enjoyed talking about My Bloody Valentine and a bunch of other movies with you guys. Had a blast, and thank you guys for stopping by. And you can tell my voice is starting to go, but looking forward to the next one. Check out my Patreon page. We do a commentary once a month. This was going to be a Patreon commentary, but I always tell my patrons, I don't like pressure you guys to show up for these. I know we all have lives. They get busy. And so, and I always tell them, if you don't show up, then I'll just go public. I'll still do it. Because the end of the day, the commentary is still always going to be there. So, and you guys rock too. So, anyway, guys, I am going to sign off. I'm going to be hitting the hay, and I got to go to work in the morning. So, I hope you guys have a great night, and believe in the hype. Thank you so much, man. April Fool's Day commentary next month. Ooh, that could be. Oh my God, I think that's gonna happen. Love it. Have a great night, guys. Love you guys.